by hold on. Okay. Okay, so we got acquired by a company called iCadre Interactive in 2016. And so far, we have developed 12 mobile games with over 40 million downloads. And we were also awarded top developers by Google Play in few years ago. Okay, okay, just a little bit. So this year, we actually 10 years anniversary. So been around 10 years now. So just sharing a bit of our photo here. The one that you see, first one is basically 4 of us in the team, and then you see 5. So we attended events, and then we have a small incubated studios in KL Central, and then we move to different offices, and then we grow. So the last photo you see was taken about, I think, last year, Chinese New Year. Okay, so these are some of the games that we have developed. On the top bottom right corner is Lightopus. It's our very first game, which was released in 2012, and at the time was a premium game, only on iOS, because Android store wasn't around at the time. Then we have Sporers, Alien Hive, Cave Boy, and all the way up to the latest games called Clawstar, which was released just a month ago. Okay, so these some of the games that have bring up some award and also some good downloads numbers. So we have Alien Hive and Morphish Hunters and Crab Wars. Crab War was released about 4 years ago. That was actually our turning point when the game actually makes quite significant revenue for the company. And then follow by Crab War, we have Light Away. And then, of course, we have Musketeers was released last year. And then Crossdown was released like a month ago. So today, I just want to go through our game development pipeline with everyone here. So basically, we will start from market research on the mobile game. That's how we start to develop a new game. And typically, our development duration is somewhere from 12 months to 16 months. And when we shortlist and finalize the genre and gameplay, then we move on to game design. And then, of course, we have prototyping, alpha, beta iterations. And then, of course, there is a server architect design. Most of our games now are all based on server based. So you basically need to log in to play. And if not, you can play offline, but most of data are synced to the server. Then, of course, we talk about theme and concept design and sound, music, and integrations. Let's start with the research, right? So how we started to develop game, of course, beside look at what we can do in terms of the technicality, the team capability and whatnot. We also look at the trend, right? What are what games people are playing this day, right? So we look at the top downloads games on the charts, get references, and then we also look at the top revenues. So we want to basically analyze how games generate revenues, what are the popular games and how. So so one of our reference for our latest game Crossdown is actually CoinMaster. CoinMaster is similar to, I'm not sure whether you guys have played CoinMaster, but it's similar to like Pirate King and all other social media games, and they are making a lot of money. Okay, so once we narrow down the game genre directions, of course we come to game design. Game design, it can be as simple as this. This is typically like just a normal game loop where you just put in the like like arcade machine, right? You put in coin and you start playing, and then you get high score, and then you continue and all that. It can be as complex as hold on, can be as complex as this one. So this is our cross stars game design, game loop. Then we move to concept design. So these are some of the early stage, very early stage concept design. Basically just starting with like block, how we going to visualize the game and all the UI. And then moving on to more iterations, concept, colors, a lot of other things. And also sharing with you some of the art assets that we develop, like concept art, characters. So these are some characters in Closta. More characters. And of course, UI UX, the design. UX play a very important role. So you do not want your player get lost in the game when they're on board the game for the first time. You want to lead them to the gameplay, show them the tutorials, and that's part of the whole UX design. And of course, the logos, the game logo is very important. So we spend like months to just come up with the name, finalize the name, and of course the logo. And these are some of the final design that we have, like the screenshots from the game. And more screenshots. Okay, so basically, I want to share the game release pipeline here. Once we have the games, what we typically do is before we release the game, we have our internal closed beta. Closed beta basically it only available to invite the person only. Like for example, our own developer, and we can also invite some special guests to actually test the games. So closed beta we usually take about 1 to 2 months just to test the game, and then once ready, then we put it on early access. So early access is actually open beta. Basically, it open to everyone. So you can actually set on Google Play how many people you want to open to and which country. So typically we launch or release it before release the games. We have early access for about 2 to 3 months to get feedbacks, to get some player data, and then that's the time we actually going to improve all the metrics and to improve the performance. Then we will kickstart our marketing during early access. So we will basically promotes our game. We start pitching the game to like press, journalists to talk about the game coming up soon, and this early access you can actually test. And once early access is done, we move on to the next phase before the release. We have the pre-registrations on Google Play, on App Store. App Store is called pre-order, if not mistaken. So once the game is up there, that's where you actually generate start marketing and generate the noise like, oh, game is coming soon, you can pre-register. And you also want to highlight the advantage or benefit of pre-registering the games. And then we move to global release. And after global release, if the game do well, and usually we will localize the games to 3 to 12 languages, depending on the market we want to enter. Like Crab Wall, we have about 12, I think probably more than 12 languages. For Crossa, only 1 language at the moment because just released a month ago. Like Musketeer, so far we have 3 languages. So we usually start with, of course, English because US is our core market. Most of the player, more than 50% of player are from US. So we start with English first, and followed by Chinese, Korea, Japan, some of the bigger markets. Okay, in terms of marketing, right? So I just talk about the stages that we go through when we release a game. So we have like closed beta, early access, and pre-registrations. So what we do for the marketing side, during the early access features stage, right? We actually pitch to Google Play to get the game features on early access. If you notice, if you use a Android phone and Google Play, you Google Play homepage, you will notice like news and updated games featuring, and also there are like perhaps like offline games, like early access, try first before download, all that category. So early access is one of the category that you can actually pitch to Google and have Google feature your game in the category. Why it's important? Because in order to get user, there are like thousand of games being uploaded to Google Play every day. So you really want to fight for exposure. So pitching to Google Play, get the opportunity to feature your game in one of those categories would help a lot. And after all, that's where people will go and browse the games and download. So if the game got featured, then during the stages early access, you get more download, means you get more data, more player to give you feedbacks. Then, of course, we'll create social medias. So we have channels like Discord, Facebook, Reddit, website, and whatnot. Then once the early access completed, we will move on to the pre-registration stage, right? So same thing, you can also pitch to Google Play and App Store because they also have a category called pre-registrations coming soon, right? And App Store also, they have like pre-orders. So they will highlight the games. So you have to take the opportunity to pitch to them and show them, how good the game is and all that. Hopefully they will help you feature the games. Of course, not just pre-registration, but you have to create a campaign, right? You have to attract people why you want to do pre-registrations, right? So you would want to you want to give some I would say freebies to the pre-registered users, and then finally, of course, global release. You have to pitch to Google Play and App Store again, and get the opportunity to feature your games. Then we also have a cost promotion tool in-house tool. We have developed in-house tool where we cost promote our games, right? So meaning all the player that playing our existing game, old game, we can at any time push and add to them. So when they launch our existing game they're playing, we see a pop-up window where they can actually, Appxplore is releasing a new game. So they click, bring them to download. And that's how we actually do our promotion as well. I mean, it's just one of our tools. Of course, we have private releases, and then we pitch the game to journalists for review, YouTubers, whatnot. And then, of course, we start our user acquisitions. So we spend marketing on Facebook ad mobs and all that especially during the first month of launching. Okay, so when I say freebie for pre-registration user, usually what we do is we set a milestone, like if we receive this many people down pre-register, we will give away these items, in-game item to only to the pre-registered user. So these are the campaign we run. For example, Crossstar, if you register, and we can actually detect if you register and down the game, we will give you this award, like 50 tokens, and then so you get exclusive spaceships and all that. So that is part of the marketing campaign we run. And of course, this one is like I say, these our in-house tools. That's where we do our cross promotion, and also we have AP testing. What AP testing is very common practice for not only for our in-house tool. It also apply to any marketing tools like Facebook and AdMob and all that, where you actually post up two different creative, and then see which one get a better response, then you stick with that one, right? So that's where the A/B testing come in. Of course, once you've done all the marketing, right, then to how should I put it? Should to verify whether the game or the marketing is successful, you typically just type in on your game on Google, and if you show up all the all the press, all the link, then at least it's covered, right? So you know that you have done your work to get your game out there. And these are some of the examples that our game got featured, like on App Store, you see like new games, so they highlight our games, Musketeer. And then like popular game in Malaysia, so there's another games, and then games from South Asia. So you have all these different category where you try your very best to fight for every single opportunity to get the game features. It's a free marketing. Okay, of course, you cannot get away with the support, which is very important. So we provide email support using Zendesk. So we have managements, a team to manage the support, and we also communicate with player across all sales channels, and respond to player comments from Google Play and App Store. So this is very crucial, just to maintain the game rating above 4.0. What it means is when you download a game, you have you can actually make a comment on Google Play and App Store, right? So you can also keep rating. So all this rating counts. Why? Because if your game rating is below 4.0, and you won't able to get the game feature on Google Play and App Store. All right. So that is something that we pay very much attention. So if any player give us like 2-star, 1-star, then we actually can reply to them and try to address that issue. Hopefully they can improve the rating, right? So these are the things that we have a team to focus and work on. Okay, okay, just very quickly, just talk about a bit of a gaming industry. So far, the gaming industry is doing very well, especially, I wouldn't say especially, like it's getting better, especially because of due to COVID, right? People stay home, play more games. And if you look at the data, like 2019, I get this one from Statista website. So if you look at the gaming sector, all combining actually like 3 times better than like the movie, box office, and music. And of course, I'm not sure whether any of you aware that some of this game, you know, making a lot of money. And just to give an idea, because sometimes when I talk to friends and all that, they don't believe how much money this game are making, right? So if you look at like Call of Duty, Candy Crush, Saga, until today, like from 5 years ago until today, they are still making tons of money, right? So if you look at revenue, this revenue data, I got it from I forgot the website. So the data show, if you look at the date, right, it's June 20th, and that's day, right, per day. That's per day how much they're making per day, and this number are in USD. So if you look at Candy Crush Saga from Kings, so they are making 2 million on that day, right? Just one day they're making 2 million. So imagine, you know, they are making 2 million per day for the past 5 years, I guess. So that's how much money Kings is making. And they not only have a Candy Crush Saga, right? So that just to give you an idea. And I also want to share with you a bit about how Malaysia, how gaming industry in Malaysia, and how government or MDEC is supporting the industry. So you can actually find more about the industry by going to lewap.my. That's where you can find out a lot more information, and they have program, they have grants giving out to students and whatnot. So you can find more information on their website. And in terms of the industry, game industry in Malaysia, so these are some of the bigger company that that I believe most of you have come across. You know, we have Passion Republic, Lemon Sky, and Glory Production. So these are the studio actually doing a lot of outsourcing project, and like doing really big title like Spider-Man and all that. I bet most of you already know these studios. In case you don't know, here you go. So these are the studios actually doing a lot of big title for you know for the bigger game studio in the world. And of course, we have some smaller studio like ourselves. So we have Appxplore, we have Magnus, Metronomics, Richie, and many others smaller studio that are doing quite reasonably well here in the industry. And of course, we have some international international studio that joining us in Malaysia. So recently, just last year, we have 3 more studio, I believe, like Double 11, Sony, PlayStation, and also Larian. So they actually setting up a office in Malaysia. What that means is a more opportunity for us, right? So they're hiring like 3D artists, programmers, designers, and whatnot. Just to share, these are the studio that can actually groom the industry in Malaysia, gaming industry in Malaysia. And in terms of job opportunities, these are the title or position that we have in our studio, right? Of course, there are more. And just to highlight a few here, so we have the managements, and just that you know, we have students, well, graduate student from UTAR join. Well, he was an intern with us like 2 years ago, and then he went back to school for another year. Once graduated, he joined us. Currently helping us as a junior producer. Uh, and of course, we have others team members here, development team, we have support and marketing team. And this is basically just a very small team for us. Like if you look at Lemon Sky and bigger game studio where they have like 100, 200 employees, and of course they have more positions, more roles. And I also share with you a game industries role by this fellow called Rick Davison, which I actually came across from the internet, where you can actually download using this QR code and URL. This PDF basically lists down mostly all the position available in the gaming industry and describe the title, the role and responsibility and whatnot. Okay, last but not least, I just want to share a little bit about iCandy. iCandy basically is our parent company, right? So they acquired us in 2016. And currently, I am also the CEO of iCandy. What we do, we invest in game studio. We also do is a publisher. So we have studio in Singapore, Incense Studios. Of course, we have our own Appxplore, homegrown game studio, and we have another studio, Joystick in Indonesia, and of course, we have a few other brands under iCandy as well. Okay, I think that's conclude my presentations. So do we move on to do we have Q&A sections?
Yes, please.
Okay, how do we do the Q&A sections here?
So we allow the participants to ask questions if they have any.
Oh, okay. So you go to, okay, where do I see the questions?
They will open their mic or probably in the chat box if they are shy to speak up.
Okay, sure.
Okay, we're opening up to a Q&A session. Any questions from our students to Mr. Desmond? If you're shy, you can just type in. Oh, okay.
Okay, hi. I would like to ask a question. So, I think Appxplore is a mobile game studio that focus on global market, right? So,
Yes,
when
correct.
focusing on global market and comparing it with, because you also want to like target the Malaysian audience as well, right? So is there any difficulties or any challenges when you have to focus on these two different markets, or they are just in the same process?
I would say they are in the very similar process. Especially like say we our user base are mainly in US and Europe. That's where we focus. We don't really focus in South Asia and Malaysia market. Um, at the moment, if you look at our data, we only have like less than 1% of player from Malaysia, right? So 50% more actually from US and Europe. That's where our market is. So we actually, when we launch the game, we actually focus on those market. And we believe that if we can success in those market, it can bring back to Malaysia easily, right? So yeah, that's our strategy.
Okay, one more question. So,
Yeah,
in recent games, for example, Musketeers,
yeah.
in your characters of the game characters is very appealing and such. And for those character creation, do you have a lot of concept art, or just you try to focus on one character, for example, to make it as appealing as possible for wider audience, or do you have to prepare a lot of concept art and discuss among your company to decide which character that you want to include inside a game?
Yeah, of course. I think that is part of the process. Just like Crossstar and many other games. And we have about at the moment I would say I don't remember like maybe 12, 13, maybe 15 artists in the studio. So we have about 7 artists. Let's say half of them focus on one game. And before we start, we actually have every single artist come up with some concept. We believe that we don't limit the artist to directions or styles, right? So every artist have their own style. So we usually give them freedom to come up with different the concept and directions. Then of course we have our creative directors, chief creative designer, to look at everything. And then when we design the game, we already have like sort of it's not a direction, but it's more on the concept, what we want, right? Then from the concept art from different artists, we will pick a few that we think we can or fit the game concept well. Then we will go for the directions. And then once that finalized, then every artist have to follow the directions. Yeah, that's how we actually do our process.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Desmond.
There's a question in the chat asking what is your thought on play to earn, for example,
Yeah.
like crypto in Malaysia?
Okay. Okay. Crypto game is, I mean, I think it's crypto is very similar to like, Bitcoin and all this crypto thingy. So it is risky, right? So you have to spend a lot of money to invest. Of course, high risk, high return, right? So same go with the game as well. When we designed this crypto game, it basically at the time 2.5 years ago, it was a hype, and a lot of crypto games are making money. So we were like, okay, why don't we try, right? So we have a small team. Started with a very small team to kickstart this project, and then finally we released this our crypto crabs games. It's a crypto game, and I would say fortunately or unfortunately lah. Fortunately means the price was low, so that people will more people can actually come on board easily, right? So they can spend a little bit money to get some ether. Our crypto game is on Ethereum's chain, so people can come on board and then people can spend a little bit money to play the game. But unfortunately, because of the hype, like going downtrend at the time, and also at the same time, the gas fees. I'm not sure whether you guys familiar with crypto games. Ethereum, you need to pay transaction fees, and because of the gas fee is very high, and because every single move, right, in the game, you need to pay some transaction fees. When we launched the game, the transaction fees was only like 20 cents USD, 20 cents, 15 cents, sometimes like 30 cents. And up until now, you're talking about like $5 USD, right? $2 to $5. And even at one point, it's like $10. So the game was put on hold. I mean, the game is still there, but people cannot proceed because the gas fee was so high. Right, people just cannot afford to pay the transaction fee and to evolve the crab and all that. So to answer your questions, there is also a game doing very well now, like Axis Infinity from Vietnam. They are doing very well in terms of market cap. If you really follow the trend, you can just check them. But also, if you ask me, to enter the game, you're going to spend like thousands of dollars, right, just to enter the game. Of course, many people claim it's very rewarding and all that. To me, yes, like I say, high risk, high reward, right? So you have to spend thousands of dollars to enter the game, and then there's no guarantee because they also have their own token. The value is going up, just like Bitcoin, Ethereum. A few months ago, the value is going up very high, and then for the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, the price dropped 50%. So if you enter the game at that point, then you are losing money, right? So the crypto game doesn't guarantee you will win the money, right? So yeah, it's just like any other tokens, right? The up and down. So you have to take your own risk. Yeah, that's all I can say. Yeah, I hope that answered your questions.
I would like to ask a question then.
Sure.
So for example, Appxplore is started out as a team of 4 people, which 4 of you just try to make a game, and it's also you start out with a free game too, freemium game too also. And
no, actually not. Sorry, it was a premium game.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
What I want to ask is, do you recommend, like, for example, like fresh graduates, like for example, who just like a group of friends studying in university, then after they graduate, start out themselves, or do you recommend they go to get some experience first before starting out by themselves?
I think it's good to form a team to do a little game to try, but I wouldn't bet a small team without experience forming a company, put some big investment on it. It's good to join company to learn. I think it's part of the process. To learn from the company, have experience, and then from there, if you think time is right and you have the experience, then it's worth to try. But I wouldn't suggest you fresh out from the university and start your own studio. Unless you are very competent. Of course, I wouldn't stop you from that, right? But yeah, that's my recommendations.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I have a question here. What do you think is the most challenging aspect in making a game? Okay. The most challenging aspect is, of course, the game have to generate revenue. Otherwise, you cannot sustain the team, right? So I think it's not only that lah. It's I think all aspect is very important. Of course, all this is a pieces you have to put together, right? So you have you need to have good art, you need to have good game design, you need to have good programmer, so that it won't is bug free when released. All these elements, all these pieces come together, and then where you can develop a good game. Of course, if you ask me, more challenging part, especially when we started out, is of course the capital, right? Without the capital, without the money, you cannot start a team. You cannot actually develop games. Especially when we started out, we focused in our own IP, right? So we did not do outsourcing to get funding. Of course, we have investor come in to help us. So I think those are the early, the most challenging part to sustain the team, to bring the team where we are now today. Okay, I have a question here. Currently, how many staff is employed in apps? I think I have about 45 people now. Around there, I don't remember the exact number. 45. Are they more senior or junior? I would say probably junior. Some junior actually joins like three years ago, and most artists like 3-4 years with us. So I would consider them no longer junior. We have about maybe 6-7 people join us this year since January. So some of them are junior. Okay. How would you advise the student if they would like to join Appxplore company? Who should they be focusing? Oh, we okay for Appxplore, we are constantly hiring, right? But at this stage, we are not like desperate to hire people because we have enough team member to work on the project at the moment. Of course, like I say, we constantly looking for talents to join us. So all you need is to prove to us that you are good in or focus. You can say you're good in arts, you're good in programming, you're good in game design, and then you're welcome to send us a resume. We'll take a look. And like I say, if we are not hiring, we'll definitely keep your CV for future reference. What is done to boost Malaysia market? What is done to boost Malaysia market? I'm not sure the question is for me or is it for the government, to boost Malaysia market. So if you ask on behalf of government, maybe I think it's a question for MTech. MTech, I think they are doing quite a job to boost the industry. If asked about Appxplore, we currently, like I say, we don't really focus in Malaysia market. But some of the game we think is fit Malaysia well. We do some marketing. We see how we pick up. Yeah. Okay. What are the challenges faced from the beginning to get this stage? Okay. So what question was? What are the challenges faced from the beginning to get to this stage? I think for myself, it's mainly just that the company was founded by two of us, myself and also my partner Jenu. He's currently our chief creative director officer, and he focused on the game development. Myself focus more on the business development. And for me, of course, we all both have different challenges, right? So for me, is how to sustain the company, right? So this doesn't come overnight, especially long story short, we started with angel investor, and after we make our first game and it wasn't successful, and then we don't get more investments, then we have to find new investor, and then we managed to get the second investor come in and sustain the team for another few years, and then we run out of money, and and go on until in 2016 we got acquired by another investor from Australia, and that's where we have more capital to build stronger team. And then like I say, we released a game called Crab War, and it was generate quite a significant revenue, and that's where our turning point was. That's how we actually come to today. Okay. Henry recommendation to get better in the game industry aspect before graduate. Okay. Any recommendation to get better in the game industry aspect before graduate? I think if you're really passionate about developing game and want to evolve or get better in the game industry, you have to do a lot more than just doing your final year project. So usually when student or fresh grad, they come to interview and say from the same college, right? Because most of the final year project are developed by a group of students, right? So the same group of students come to interview and they show me the same project and say, oh, I developed this, with a team. And then another student come to interview and show the same project. So to us, there's no way for us to judge how good you are, right? So if you can actually develop your own personal project beside your school project, we like to see students with a lot more passionate on the game, not just doing homework, right? So if you spend more time developing your own game, all that show that how passionate are you, and that will give you more advantage. Yeah, that's how we judge as well. Okay, another question is, do you have employee who are not from gaming background beside accounting, finance? Not from gaming background. Yes, they are programmer. So of course, besides developing game, we also have server programmer, right? So they are not really from gaming background, but they love gaming, right? But when in school, they learn programming, like web programming, server programming, but not game. Other than that, not really. And of course, we have artists. They just a general illustrator. Then we help them and turn them into game illustrators, game artists. And of course, not to forget, we have sound and music, right? But this is the only thing that we do not do in-house, right? Other than that, everything that you see in the game are all done in-house. Sound music, usually we outsource to company. Okay, I have last question here. How big is the demand of production manager in current Malaysia game industry? Very good question. I'm not sure whether it's a big demand, but we are constantly looking for production manager, right? The production manager is very hard to come across in Malaysia, especially. Reason is because being a production manager is just not a just is not just a management role, right? You need to understand a lot more than that. The whole game development pipeline inside out, right? So to be a good production manager, you need to have a lot of experience in the gaming industry. I think the demand is there. Until today, I mean, for us, it's hard to find the production managers, especially in Malaysia. Okay, I don't see any more questions. I hope I answer most of your questions, and I hope you find my presentation helpful to you as well. Any questions?
Then I would like to ask one. It's a question I think most of us here would like to know too, which is,
Sure.
does Appxplore accept interns?
We do. Like I say, we open, I think maybe like 2-3 position every terms. I say we have UTAR students join us previously. Now he's our junior producer, and yeah, we do. Basically, the role for the interns mainly helping us on game testing. Yeah. Reason being is we cannot, how should I put it? I mean, there are some students come here and apply for interns. They want to be the artists, intern, they want to be programmers. And for us, it's very challenging because every year we only develop 2 games, right? 2 game, and we cannot afford to allow like intern to involve in the real productions, which is very challenging. When we developing a real products. So what we do, we actually put most of them, even programmers or artists or anyone that passionate or like the game industry, we put them into the game testing, to test every single game that we develop, because every time we release an update, we need tester to test the game and make sure there's no bugs. Then we also do publishing, so we also evaluate game from other developers send in to us to evaluate. So you also have a chance to evaluate all this game and then write a report of the how you think about game. And that is important to us because we want to see how you respond to a game, right? It doesn't matter you are a programmer, game artist, or you are the game designer. I think that is important, how you able to test a game and how sensitive are you with the game and whether you can actually a passion about the game, keep testing the game and don't give and not giving up. Some intern they test a few games, they're like, oh my god, it's the same game again, every single day. But that is part of the process. To develop the same game, spend 1.5 years to develop that game, and you keep testing the same game again and again, right? So yeah, we do another question. We do hire intern, but it just basically very limited. We only have like 2 intern per term. So yeah. What's the last question here? Oh, someone mentioned Kitus. Yes, Kitus. so Kitus is our junior producer. He's doing very well in the company. What's your good experience and bad experience throughout all the intern hire? It's very difficult to say. I think for intern, well, what we want is proactiveness, I would say, because when you join as an intern, it's very hard for the team to entertain you. We try our best to help you, but you are the one who come in to help us, right? To learn, right? So and every single one of us in the team are really busy, and we basically have to leave you alone. We assign you a task, you have to do it. And if you do more, you should actually do more than what we ask. And also, you any question, we happy any intern that actually play a role in it and ask questions, and don't just sit there. We have intern like just sit there and 6 o'clock I'll leave, and then come in and give me tasks. I finish, I just sit there and watch YouTube. Those I would say bad experience. Good experience means you actually very proactive. So when you play our game, that's where we want to see how you are playing the game, right? Playing your role to test the game, and then you raise question, you give your input. We are welcome any input, even though you are just intern, right? And you can share your experience playing the game, and all that would help. Yeah, so I would say those are good experience. Yeah, so I mean we have good and bad experience. Okay, no more questions? Yeah, I mean I'm happy to answer more questions if you have. Cool. So yeah, I guess that conclude the.
There's
Yes.
there's a question in the chat.
What was that?
Would you consider into making a game on different platforms, like for example, console or PC?
At the moment, not really. But I don't want to conclude that. At the moment, we only focus on mobile. Yeah, even the game that I'm not sure whether you learn this. We have a Jerry company with Lemon Sky as well, which was announced like early of the year. So we are also developing a multiplayer high quality 3D games with Lemon Sky, and that also for mobile. But of course, we are not limited to mobile. If there's a chance for the game to success, because we are using Unity, right? As long as the gameplay fits other platform, we can easily port the game to like Steam or or Nintendo Switch and other platforms. Yeah, but for time being, Appxplore, we are focusing only on mobile games.
Okay, I think that's all for the Q&A session.
Okay, cool. All right. I guess that's it. I hope you learned something from the presentations.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Desmond.
All right. Thank you. All the best.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Bye bye.